recording here in the apartment
Of Lisa.
of Lisa.
Hi guys, how are you?
What's up? Tyler here with Lisa, hanging out, getting into some pretty fun concepts, pretty good ideas.
Yeah, we think you'll like them. We decided to share them. We thought they were too good, so we hope you guys love it.
Oh, could I see the cool thing?
Yeah, there you go.
The fun thing? Cool. So one thought I'm considering that is hilarious to me is how people used to scry, like stare at like crystal mirrors for like divination throughout history, and like they were just like looking for like visions or like revelations,
Almost like Snow White.
almost like Snow White. Wait, in what way?
Okay, I think it was like Snow White would actually go up to the mirror.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a theme that goes on.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Exactly. Yeah. And how like people would like be like looking for these visions, and people like I imagine definitely had them, some genuine ones for sure. But then I think about how we like have the same thing right now, but like instant, or you can like turn on the TV and you're just fucking like having these visions of anything that exists, and like
Okay, so you're comparing the TV to the that like idea of it being Snow White looking in the mirror.
yeah, like a scrying.
So you're also getting a program and an idea. Well, kids learn from the TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
They there's kids TV shows that do that. So in some ways, I can't really deny that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Sure. That's definitely a way that plays out. But it's interesting to me because there's this like, it's almost like it's not quite like this, but it's almost like those ancient people were like trying to like develop TV, but like not quite,
Like their own Black Mirror.
Yeah, exactly. That's like totally it. And I just think it's kind of funny how like we've evolved that concept to television, and how that idea of like being able to have visions and like experiences where you like learn something or someone communicates with you, like we get through television.
And it's what they're choosing to communicate to you, right?
Yeah. There's a part of me that like I see that and I'm like, does that mean that people that make technology are like occultists that are using technology as this scientific means of being able to be taken seriously?
No, there's no. I don't think people are making the connections. I think that they're just doing it for the job, and they're not really like thinking of the long-term effects of what's really going on, and like looking at it in a conscious way and making simple connections to the bigger connections, the possibility of the what if, looking at what is already there, and then thinking, well, if this equation happened, why can't I like disprove this other possible equation? Or not even equation, it's like there could be the next step. But where, people aren't putting that all together. They're not putting in all the factors of what's going on.
Oh, yeah, totally. That reminds me, too, of stuff I've been hearing. It was like a meme I saw on Facebook recently, and it was this like mother's conversation with her child, and the child was like, like school's kind of lame. And the parent was like, why is it lame? And the child's like, I think they're doing it wrong. And the parent was like, what do you mean? And the kid said, they teach us all of these subjects separate from one another. He's like, but they all interact. They're all connected.
Yeah, you have to integrate them.
Yeah, and it was interesting because he was talking about that idea of like how it's taught separately. And when things are taught separately, I feel like it trains the mind to look within boxes instead of at like whole systems.
Okay, I can give a really good example because I get really like when I was in school, I'm not trying to brag, but I worked hard. I got A's. I got a D in Gen Chem, right? But my favorite class was biochem because it brought together biology, because I wasn't making the connections like atoms, but like what are you talking about? But then when I saw it work in the body, like neurotransmitters and the chemical reactions cause this, I was like, wow, this makes this is how it should have been taught. Like I would have got an A+. Like this is actually really cool. But when like you're making it so basic, and you're just elemental, and you're not putting the connection together to something that I already know and can integrate, then I have no concept of what you're talking about because I have nothing to go off of,
Yeah. It has to be brought back to like a practical level where it's not just left as an abstract thing.
Yeah.
You can see it playing out. Because that's like, I feel like stuff's just not like real to us unless we have some kind of visual component to be able to see it in some way.
Well, you know, Leonardo DaVinci was like known for like integrating everything. He could like see things and how they operated. Actually, great show. It's on Showtime. Leonardo DaVinci. Like everyone should watch it because the way his mind worked was he was using all different aspects of like, oh, I see this and this interacting and it could create this, or I see this move happening and like I can like actually use this angle to get out. But like that is the greatest mind, and like everyone should watch a show just to like see how it worked. But I mean, you get it, you know, because he did poetry. He's like theorized. He like was great dissected bodies. I mean, he could do all those things because he integrated them all.
Yeah,
they all had something to do with each other.
Yeah, totally. That's beautiful. I had no clue that that's how he operated. That's like, I gotta say.
Well, that's why he could do all those things, because they all came together.
That's like, that. I gotta say, when I imagine like my highest aspiration of my own self, I like look at that and I'm like, that represents what I must become.
Because that's the highest consciousness.
It's true. I agree. It's someone who's able to see so much. See and interact with so much in relationship to the big picture, and I think that's like
because that's why we get sucked into our phones, because we're not like it's really kind of draining to like be so aware and integrating in every moment, right? That's why consciousness is hard. So like it's kind of a break.
It is like it's a timeout. It's a timeout in life, which is so trippy. I always wonder about like the life review, where you die and then you see all of your life like flash before your eyes. I feel like it's gonna be so trippy if you see a bunch of moments where you're just like looking at like technology or texting or you're like scrolling Facebook. Yeah. You know, I think that's gonna be such an if that occurs, that's gonna be such an interesting phenomenon to be able to see those moments when you were in like a whole nother like reality in a reality of looking at your screen, you know?
I mean, I definitely do, because I feel like a lot of people like you have to take in so much information around you that it's like that concentration to just be like, I'm just going to be looking at this one thing. I'm not going to be watching my surroundings. I'm not going to have to be aware. I'm not going to have to be like, you know. Yeah.
So I feel like it's like it reminds me of sensory overload that you're describing.
It's because a lot of us are not living in this place of like consciousness that we feel on high alert. And that it's a nice time to like be on my phone. Probably like why kids, like a lot of times that like they'll shut their door and just play video games. It's probably like they want to get the hell away, because like they have no power, no control in the subconscious, you know, having to just like listen and not be heard, not be like their conscious behavior is not respected. So it puts them into a subconscious of, I need to go play a video game. Right. I need to get out of here.
I can exist in a world where I'm a character. I can do anything I want.
And like I don't need to concentrate on my surroundings and being like home with these parents who I'm pissed at. Right. And like who are not listening to me, not respecting me, or you know.
Yeah. So this is like a tangent, but it's on the notion of Facebook. And this is a dream I had last night that was so trippy to me. Like I recently like binged on like social media, just like on Facebook, like just scrolling endlessly. I don't know what I was looking for, but I was just like going down like a quest to scroll down Facebook as fast as I could. And then I had dreams about Facebook where I was like in the internet. I was like in the Facebook website, and Facebook wasn't just like a wall that you look at. I was in like a
there's an episode on Black Mirror about this.
I was in a cube where there were 4 walls of Facebook, you know, on left, right, front, back, and you could go up and down, and it was so trippy because I'm like going down, right, and I'm like looking at the Facebook feed on the walls. Yeah. And as I'm like going down in like the level, all of the content on the wall starts to like shapeshift into like electrical, like static electricity beings. Like they looked like silhouettes of people that were made out of all of the light particles that the Facebook screen is emanating. It was like it's like the electrons shifted. That made the electricity move to like exactly. And I was just like surrounded in this like 4-dimensional or like this 4-sided room, right? Like just looking up at these like massive beings made of like static. And then it's pretty trippy. Yeah, it was super trippy. I like woke up and then immediately was like, I gotta stop using Facebook so much.
I don't know, because it's kind of funny because your dream is kind of what it's not the same as far as like, but Okay, let me go back. So there's an episode in Black Mirror where this guy puts on an earpiece and he like his body goes out, but he goes into the video game and he's one of the characters. Okay. Which is kind of like you going into Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So, but they actually become characters, and like it's just them getting out of the reality into whatever the game and whatever, you know, light and illumination technology was to create that game.
Wait, so they go into the game and then create
the technology so they make the characters do what they want.
Wait a minute.
So they write like the way that they want the like game to be written.
The characters do this? Like they hack into it?
No, the person putting on the earpiece. So he gets to like decide how these people want to behave. But then all of a sudden these people start to wake up and they have consciousness and they don't want to like be treated that way in the game.
Wow.
I don't know. It just made me think of that because the dream was kind of like funny that you went into Facebook and there was a Black Mirror.
Yeah. That's interesting. So that's an episode of Black Mirror? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool, dude. Black Mirror freaks me out. If I watch too much Black Mirror, I get fucking so, like, vaguely nervous about everything in society. Like, really? I just look around and I'm like, oh my God, is, like some kind of social currency gonna be installed? Like, are people's, like, emotions gonna be, like, non-existent? Or... like is the heart-based connection of people gonna be like just like lost, you know, like is that gonna be forgotten about? Like so many questions I have about the future get poked when I watch Black Mirror.
No, but I feel like that episode was about the consciousness waking up, you know, because that like whatever that light was electrons. So no matter what, like the ability of anything, like if you think about it, you break it down to we are made of water mostly, like water, like, and we're made of the neurons in our brains are our electrical system. You could basically call us a machine ourselves. It is, right? So, like, I think in that episode, like, the whole meaning was that those people, like we all talk about an awakening. It's like they woke, you know? Yeah. It's just a different chemical way that your brain is thinking.
Right. Yeah. That's what's your definition of woke? Like, if somebody has like woken up like in the system, you know, or they've like
if they've woken up, they're probably going through a hell of a time, you know, because it's not easy to, you know, because then you're questioning your own reality, and that's kind of scary that like to be in that position to be like, wait, this isn't how it is, and you feel alone, but then you have to like go through it and you have to figure it out and you have to navigate it. You know, when you have to do it in a like respectful way without like being like angry that, you know, you know, the people around me aren't acting this way.
Yeah. That is definitely a huge part where you like start to recognize more of how reality can be, and then you have people around you that are locked into like the pattern, the status quo. Yeah,
and you have to know your triggers, and you have to tell someone that, you know, you're triggering me, and then they ask them to respect it. If they don't, they're going to look stupid because you asked them to respect it, you know?
Right.
That's like almost in what they teach in karate is like, and actually a better example is like in firearms, like they teach you in like the gun lessons. They're like, you do not like shoot an intruder. Like you have to like know who they are, act in a this is what it is. If you shoot someone, act calm when you call. So it's like you always have to think and be calm in that like moment.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's crucial. It's like crucial. If you don't have a state of relaxation, then I feel like it's just so easy to be on like high alert.
Yeah.
And to like just how would I put it? Make choices that are like not the best suited ones like in the moment. Like to make a choice where
like, and someone has to be attacking you for like, and there needs to be a reason. Like they like, you need to ask respect. If someone doesn't respect that, then you're always right. Right? So if someone hits you, you have a right to hit them. If someone just like attacks you, you have a right to shoot them. Then that, I mean, there's certain things that we need to accept. And that's what kids need to learn. Their words will get them respect. Being like, you're triggering me. Please, you know, I'm asking you for you to respect that. If someone doesn't respect that, there's something wrong with them, and it's clear cut, and everyone can see it.
Yeah. Wow, it's so interesting. It makes me think of it's interesting thinking about the idea of bullies and like bullying. How like bullying to me represents those instances where you're like telling someone to stop and they won't. Like when I think of like a bully like behavior, it's like a person that keeps like persisting. Mm-hmm. The other areas I see it.
I feel like they don't ask for that. Like, because I feel like if like someone did that, there's usually a kid in the crowd that's like, hey buddies, the guy asked you to stop.
Yeah.
Like with little, there's always that like someone's gonna say that, hey, group mentality, like, but because like you're like, there's gonna be someone with heart in the group that can't deny it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely. Oh, can I see the thingy? Thanks.
E-pen. All right, my favorite flavor. Don't run it out.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I hope I not say too much.
Anyways, back to our stuff.
I'm like, sorry. I'm like savoring the flavor and the feeling. I'm like, oh yeah, this is nice.
And they don't make the mint ones anymore.
They discontinued the whole flavor?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
I know. I love the jewels. So it's a bad thing. Don't do it, guys.
Yeah, I know. Tobacco. So I heard an interesting idea, and this woman said tobacco is hard to quit because tobacco industries pay to influence you to believe that it's hard to quit.
Well, that's why I believe that these jewel pods have been going under is because the tobacco company is paying for them. Because that is totally ridiculous. There's been only 30 cases. Think about that. I bet you there's been other things that these people have had problems with, and that's probably why they died. It was like this maybe, there's definitely not one reason. There's never one reason.
It gets...
And and look how many people have died from cigarettes. Yeah. That's the bigger issue I have. Look how many people died from cigarettes, but they're still on the shelf. Yeah. And like we have like whole medical like protocols on how to deal with them, yet like only 30 died, and this is a huge deal. It's being run by the tobacco company.
Interesting. I wouldn't be surprised. And so the thing that trips me out about the e-stuff, like email, I'm just kidding. No, e-cigarettes.
Well, the thing is, we don't know. So that's the thing, we don't know. Yeah. But we do know about the cigarettes.
Yeah.
So that's even funnier. Like. Yeah.
I just wonder if we can do like nicotine vaping.
There's no way. We have to live it to find out, and it's are you taking the risk to do that? That's a person's decision. Right.
I just mean, can we work out like nicotine vaping so it's like more health conscious, like coconut oil and
it's still gonna be nicotine.
It's still so I don't think it's the nicotine that's fucking people's lungs up.
No, it's the other stuff in it, but it's still like not something you want to be doing.
Right. So I guess what I'm saying is like, can you cut out like more evils from vaping by creating e-pens of nicotine that have like healthier like additives that would be like more natural, maybe like
try it with a coconut oil.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I've even seen some companies that do it. Like I was thinking of getting like a tobacco pen, like an e-pen. But I was like, which ones like use like organic? But
that's how people end up dead, because like some people are like, that's another reason a lot of these 30 cases is that then you're experimenting on yourself and like you don't know that chemical reaction.
Right.
So like that's not, I don't know.
Well, that's why I'm saying like if you had like more organic like ingredients, then I feel like you'd be like reducing the risk.
But you don't know. But like that'd be like, I don't know.
Maybe
do you have the lab work?
Right. But these are kind of like that though, right? Where they don't know what they do.
I mean, no, these are like. The jewel pods, like if you're not the one putting it in, that one's been tested out, like by a huge company.
Oh, sure. So you're saying they're more regulated, so they're gonna be safer because
they've done a whole study, like creating it and like have a like people have been actually like trying and like that's a problem with the e-cigarettes is they're mixing their own blends together and you don't know that chemical reaction. Okay. So that's why those 30 cases, some of them were that. And you don't know the chemical reaction of mixing these different flavors together in your own pod.
Interesting.
That's why I was like kind of playing like I don't know.
So you think with even like organic ingredients?
Yeah, unless you know that chemical reaction, like that's
right. So you want to. So the Juul chemical reaction, they've tested that one.
Yeah, and I think the Juul came from China, and it's like been very tested.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because in China they smoke a lot.
Right.
I mean, but the Juul didn't do well there because they still wanted to smoke their own cigarettes.
Right.
Because it's okay in that, like China to do that, like socially. Mm-hmm. Right. So then, what were they going to do with all these Juuls? They came over to like America.
Oh, I see. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that was how Juuls arrived here.
I'm theorizing that, but like the jewels are. It's my. I always say like I try to put the pieces of what if. I'm not saying that's exactly why. No one quote me on it, but it's my. This is all theory because we don't know. It's us talking about the unknown.
It sounds so good though. I want to believe it. I want to believe it right away.
I don't know. I just try to put the facts together. It might not be true, but I don't know. It's just me being an investigator.
Yeah. Cool. So Yeah. Let's see. I want to think of what's the craziest? Have you had like a really powerful like mystical or psychedelic experience that was like either induced by just like normal consciousness or like something like extra?
I mean, not without. No.
No. Okay. Damn. I'm just curious. I always wonder.
I mean, not that I can think of. You know, I don't know.
Have you ever
I don't know. Like, tell me more of what you mean.
Yeah. So like a
dream experience, because I've had weird dreams.
It could be dreams, or it could be waking, where all of a sudden like your perception of reality like radically shifts, but in a way where the reality experience becomes like more lucid, more dreamlike, more surreal. Maybe you understand something important about your own life or about what you need to do in the moment.
The only thing that I can like think of is I had a dream that my aunt who like passed away, she like, I was in what it looked like to be a nursing home that my grandma was in. My grandma's not in a nursing home, but so that was kind of strange. But anyway, she was there, and she had cancer when she died, so she had really short hair, but she had looked like her normal self. And she goes, I need to speak with you. And I go, you're not supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I need to talk to you. She's like, you need to sit at the table. And she told me that to tell my grandmother that she was okay. And then I wanted to like hug her, but I was actually afraid. And I remember feeling afraid in the dream. Mm-hmm. And I was like, can I touch your hand? And she goes, yes. And I think she knew that I was like afraid, so like she didn't like act weird. Mm-hmm. And I woke up still feeling that hand for a good 6 hours, like that touch.
Oh yeah.
And so in this reality, like almost feeling that touch, and it was just so that I don't know. Yeah. That's the only thing I could relate to what you're talking about.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a really cool experience. It's beautiful too.
Yeah, it was like I was very happy. I felt at peace. I actually called my grandma and told her, and she was actually happy to hear.
Oh, how cool. Yeah. How old were you?
Actually, this happened last year. I was on the spring break. Yeah.
Oh, no way. So that's really cool. This was very recent.
Mhm. I mean, but it was a dream. So I still question, like, was it real? Was it not? I just like, my experience was like, it felt real in the moment, like very real. But you know, it's always just a dream. I don't know what happens.
Yeah, it's interesting. I always feel like dreams, what we remember, are like our brain's best way of being able to translate what we actually did in that space. So it's like what we come back with is kind of like you call it like a screen memory, mm-hmm. or maybe like a mirage that's meant to indicate like symbols and ideas and constructs that represent the dream world activities.
I find dreams very interesting because I just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. Like you could be totally right. I just don't know. Like I have no idea what goes on. Like I try to I mean I think about, could it be a different reality, but like I don't know. And that's like because we don't know the science. Like we need the science there.
Have you ever had a dream about something that happened?
Not that I can remember. No.
Oh, okay.
Have you?
I've had two that I remember.
Like what?
Probably more, but
like
I had
it
two.
Was like your premonition type.
Yeah,
dream?
Yeah. In the dream, so I had two. In one dream, I had a premonition that someone was teaching me mathematics. Mm-hmm. And then the next day I'm in my chemistry class.
But wouldn't they teach mathematics and chemistry?
Well, no, check this out. So the setting, the atmosphere, the feeling of that dream environment was like very specific. They had a very strong feeling to it.
Okay.
And then later that day I'm in chemistry, and it's general chemistry, but I didn't have like the basic math skills to understand mm-hmm. anything that they were talking about. So I'm like asking all these questions, like probably sounding like I clearly have no idea what's going on.
Well, that was good.
And this girl approaches me in the class, and she's like, hey, do you want me to help you? I can meet you at like the library right now. We could go and I could show you a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, sure, that'd be great. So we sit down in the library. She opens up the textbook, and all of a sudden I have total deja vu to the dream.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh fuck, like this moment like was what I was perceiving like in that dream reality. Like,
I mean, I don't deny it, but
that was one I had, and then a more recent one was in relationship to a final exam, or no, a midterm. I was preparing for a midterm in Dr. J's class, and he in the class like gives us this exercise, right, where he like hands us like a sample of what the exam might look like, and he asks us questions to like kind of prepare us mentally for what the actual exam will be. And I had a dream like a few days before of like being in that situation, like being in the classroom, receiving the sheet of paper. I remember the way I felt. I remember like I remember my reaction to the questions on that exam in the dream were the following. I like looked at it, had no idea what the answer was, and then just like I let myself like say the answer. And then Dr. J's class like rolls around 2 days later, and like that entire memory like plays out. Like I get the paper, and then I'm like having the same response. I'm like, okay, I remember what happened in the dream. It's like just like let yourself like answer the question. But I didn't know he was going to give us a sample exam, like, or anything like that. But yeah, I've like detected events on the dream radar and then had it happen. And then actually recently, like 2 days ago, it was like 2 days ago, like maybe 3, 4, where I saw this red cardinal in my dream. It's a super beautiful red cardinal. And then I opened my back door, like the morning I wake up, have the dream, and I open the door, and like one of the first animals I see within seconds is the red cardinal like flying by. Yeah, and I was just like, what the fuck? I'm watching my dream world like bleed over, into this. Before it happens. It's fucking crazy,
You totally you took my dream that I've told you before and made me remember, because you're trying to tell me, Lisa, you had that.
Oh, you probably did. Yeah, you've probably. I think most people have, but don't remember.
Yeah.
My sister's, I shouldn't speak for her, but my sister's had that.
Yeah.
She's had dreams like that. Crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And I think that's where science is going to advance the furthest. When science starts to look into like consciousness and the subconscious and how we're connected and what the energy is that makes up that space and how to measure it and all that stuff. When we get to there, that's where I feel like so much progress in humanity is going to unfold, because we're just going to be like researching about like ourselves and learning about ourselves and learning about how infinite our consciousness is. And I think that's so cool. 'Cause
I think the science just needs to be advanced,
I think it's happening. I think there's going to be like major revitalizations of so many areas within our civilization. Oh, dude, this is trippy. I was like in the woods today, hiking, and I was like one of the only people out there because it was so cold. And I was just like, I have to be in nature.
I don't know why you do that.
It's like good for me. I need to get up to date with the planet. So I'm like walking in the woods through this like secluded area, and then I see this awesome like it's like a lake stream thing, and there's just all these like ducks, just like at least like 100 of them, like all just like sitting out like on the water, and they were just like so chilled out because there were no people there.
Really?
So I felt like I was just watching life like just do its thing. And I had a moment where I was like, I closed my eyes and I was like, I want to like connect with these ducks psychically.
Well, that's what like Qigong is, right?
Yeah.
That's like, it's modeling nature, how it moves. That's how our bodies should like run, how nature is running,
Yeah.
So I could see you having that.
Yeah. Well, I closed my eyes and I like asked to like have a connection with them. I was like, do you have like messages for me? And I started getting feedback, and what they said to me was like, you're observing a version of us that's like still in your current space-time. They're like, but we're connected to aspects of our consciousness that are already in the year 2020.
Yeah,
they were like saying essentially that the animal consciousness is so aware of the timeline, that it can be aware of where it is in the moment, but it can also be aware of like the future versions of itself, and it can like interact with that.
I mean, I could see that because listen, like my phone gives me a message. My interacting with you gives me a message. Everything does. The TV gives a message. It's that message was like giving you its own like peacefulness and calmness, Yeah. And whether you want to like create it into like, this whole different version, but it was that feeling that started that that started those thoughts for you.
Oh, for sure.
You
know?
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's kind of like a feeling, like, then creates all this different information.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, whatever information it is for you, you know? Especially, like, people react differently to the news. You know, it's the same thing.
Right. Yeah, and
but we all tend to act happier in nature, so.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Nature's like a paintbrush for your mind. It helps you like make the picture internally more beautiful.
And we all act more happier when we're like viewing history. You know, like being in it. You know, that's. If you look at people at museums, they all seem really like into it, just as much as like they're into their phones. But like, we've told ourselves not to do that, you know. But we have to like kind of go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it still is information to give us. It's like you can't just learn it all from your phone. It's like you have to go out and, yes, it gave you information. Now what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it now?
Yeah.
Unless you can interact with people and get things done and learn from stuff, then you just being at your computer all day, you haven't really done anything with it.
Yeah. Do you think there's like a glorification of knowledge, but knowledge in
no,
the sense
we've lost
of knowing,
it. No.
in the sense of knowing facts?
No, we've lost that. Where people don't really care anymore. Like back in the day, scholars were like uplifted, were even like the advisors to the king. So no, we have not. We actually lost it because we're not looking at everything.
Well, I just think of people that are like how we were talking about like scientists being like hardwired in their theories of like this is what reality is, this is the box, this is all there is. I feel like that mentality is that idea of like glorification of like knowledge, of like accumulation of like facts and ideas.
But don't you need that?
Yeah, but I think that there's like...
You're saying there's a limit? No, the limitation is people not being able to ask now what or why.
Yeah, totally.
That's what the limitation comes.
Yeah.
Because new idea, like you're acting as if it's creating this world that would block like things from evolving. No, it doesn't. It's just like the ability for other people to not be a little bit narcissistic, to allow people to say, well, you know, I disagree, like, can we figure this out? And like always be respectful and loving. That's what, you know, it's about, being like spiritual and like transcending. But no, that's how like how we evolve, is like people put their minds together, people are working together. It's not like you're attached to your idea so much that you won't change it and you won't integrate and get something from someone else to make it a better thing. You know, that's how things get better.
Definitely. Yeah, I would agree, because if only one person's like looking at something, there's only so much energy that one person can share with the idea.
Yeah, I mean, medicine really hasn't changed in you know, a long time. You know, it's starting to where we're integrating both sides, but like that's been like that for a long time because they haven't wanted to, like, we've been out there, you know, we've always been out there, but they've kind of poo-pooed us because it was just very, you know, I'm right, you're wrong. Why? But then people started asking why, because they had the internet and were looking up all like natural things, and they wanted it, and they were forced because the doctors didn't know these other things, you know, and they probably didn't really like it, but they were forced because people wanted to know more. They had the ability to go on the internet and ask why, which is why the internet does come as a good thing, but it's what do you do with it then? You still need to live in the reality and, you know, be able to navigate with it.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's interesting to imagine how medicine is going to continue to evolve. I'm hearing like more talk of vibrational medicine as like a concept and what that could turn into. Like people are thinking of like very subtle waves or maybe like very powerful waves of vibration to be like pulsed at the body or to certain parts of the body to, like, for example, break up like Alzheimer's plaque.
Listen. Or
something like that. And that to me is very interesting. And the idea of, remember the Rife machines?
Yeah, where they can kill Lyme at a certain frequency.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, listen, I can't say no or yes, but I can only say only way that I can wrap my head around it possibly working, right, is that I have a needle, right? If I want to tonify, I go slower. If I want to disperse, I go faster. That is rate, time, and frequency.
Yep.
So what is a ray of light? It's moving at right time frequency. So I don't know. To me, I can't say yes or no because I need to see more science. The people really aren't like knowing about this, so there's not a lot out there. But my theory, like, I can't say no. You know, I can't say no. I say what if. I always say what if.
What if?
Because I see things that can make it true, but I need more information.
Yeah, needs to be more, and like investments into it, experiments into it, because that would be so cool. Like, have you seen the PEMF mats? These are they're mats that you lay on. By the way, are you still trying to conserve your e-juice? Or could I have? Okay.
You have one.
Oh, you're the best. Thank you.
Last one.
Okay. I want to really savor it. Muscle memory, turn on. It's only for the flavor. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So, man, every time I hit that e-juice thing, I totally space. I'm like, where am I?
I'm like checking how much. I hate that there's no more than this.
That's crazy. They just continued that shit. But oh God, what were we talking about? What were we saying?
We were talking about frequencies.
Oh, sure. Right. Oh, PEMF mats.
Yeah.
Dude, so you lay on. Apparently, they're used in like certain German hospitals, and you lay on these things, and they have settings that are disease specific, which I thought was interesting. Like they have one for like Lyme, they have one for cancer.
Yeah, I mean.
And it pulses these different frequencies like from the mat like into the body.
I mean I can believe that because in homeopathy to kill Lyme we have to get the body, well this is actually even true because we have to get the body temperature up to a certain rate to actually kill like there's I think it's really high for Lyme, it's like 103, and to be sitting at a 103 temperature is very uncomfortable for a patient. But we accept homeopathy, so if a temperature can do it, why can't another type of rating or frequency do it?
Can you talk about that homeopathy?
So people do peat baths. It's a type of mud that blocks your pores, so you can't sweat. So body temperature goes up, and then it's like goes up to 103, and they've proven, and it's even we learn it in ND school that it will kill Lyme, but it's very hard, and that's why it doesn't. It's not a well-used thing because it's uncomfortable for a patient to sit at a 103 temperature for like 5 minutes.
You only have to do it for 5 minutes.
You have to keep doing it until it's like out, and people herks like.
Oh.
So where they don't feel well after, like it's really draining.
How long are sessions? Like 5-minute sessions, or you do like 10 minutes?
Like we put in the peat, they get in, and it's honestly most people don't make it past 2 minutes.
Wow. That sounds.
Like, they literally want to get out. And we're literally giving them water while they're doing it. Like, and they're just like sucking down like gallons of water.
Wow.
I mean, and then we're taking their temperature every minute, and we're also checking pulse every 30 seconds, I believe.
What sort of like results have you seen for people with?
It's not good because people can't last.
Have you had any that have last?
Listen, I would never do this on one of my own patients. They only did it at the UB clinic because I don't think people can't last the amount of time that's needed. But as far as the fact that temperature's working, I could think that there'd be like wavelengths that would be a similar like setting. This is just temperature. This is just another physical way. You know, it's just another physical way but you have to get it right. That's how everything in life is. You have to get it at the right thing. Yeah.
That's where I feel like mastery like develops, like that idea of utilizing precision as a quality to achieve tasks and to be like very precise and intentional with words, but also like technical skills, like with your hands or with any of those things. I think of that idea of like how that relates super strongly to acupuncture, with the idea of having to find the point, having to like go deep enough or superficial enough to stimulate the point, and the idea of like proper technique to like get that effect. It's like all of those variables have to be hit with a certain amount of precision in order for like the effects to be like achieved.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I believe that's like everything in life. It's like kicking a soccer ball. You know? Yeah. If you don't kick it right, it's not going to go the way you want it. I mean, I don't think people break it down to those simple ideas. If people did, it'd be very easy for them to like get the idea.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I love it because it's all. I feel like it like reveals such a progressive opportunity for so many people because it's like, okay, like the way you're interacting with reality isn't giving you the result you want. It's like, so you have to like refine and better like how you're interacting with it.
And that's becoming conscious, being able to integrate, what was the past thing that worked into that moment, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And that's kind of what, skiers or anyone do. They visualize the course they're going to take, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they've already like seen it, done it. It's like, all right, well, but they're doing it in that moment. It's not like they're visualizing it on the race. It's now, I've been there, I've seen this, I've integrated it, I know where I'm going.
Yeah. That, I think visualization is like one of the most powerful things that a human can do that like isn't given proper credit.
I mean, all Olympic athletes do it.
Yeah, exactly. When I heard that, that's when I was like, whoa, there's like something to like the internal world,
Well, because I'm a coxswain, I do it all the time before a race and how I'm going to steer, especially on head races. It's like it's a coxswain's race because you have to steer the boat. So it's like based upon you and blocking other boats. But I have to visualize it before going in. And I literally stand, like my eyes closed, move my hands of how I'm going to move the rudder. And honestly, it's the most calming way for me to do there because I've already been on that turn. I already know where I'm going. I already know that, maybe I got to go out because I'm going to cut people off with time. And they don't know.
Yeah. There's a practice that I thought was really cool I read this from the Dalai Lama. I think it was a book he had written. And he talks about before going to sleep each night, like review the whole day, like start to finish.
Yeah, because you learn something from it.
Yeah. I thought that was like so obvious and so like profound at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm like, duh. I'm like, that's total sense.
Because then you learn that like, okay, this next moment is kind of like that, and that's why. Because you've already seen it, that's integrating.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Because there's so many of the same ideas that like people just don't see it's the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I feel that's how
they're just telling it in a different language, and you're just not seeing what they're saying.
Or they're like applying it to just like a different like setting. It's like a different spin off of like a concept.
Exactly. That's a better way of saying it. A different setting, but they're not like, this is as simple as that.
Yeah. Right. Oh my god. Well, listen, this was a fun first episode.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy.
Well, love you all. Thank you for tuning in to the Tyler and Lisa discussions.